Hey there, everyone. I'm Ashley Bullington, and this is the Campfire. It's our summer camp show where we go around the DFW Metroplex and preview what's coming up this football season. And right now, we're doing private schools and small schools. And let's introduce you to some of those teams in our film session. After winning a state title last year with a senior-laden team, you would think Argyle would be rebuilding this year. That just doesn't happen at Argyle. They don't rebuild, they reload. While most of their skilled position players have moved on, the Eagles have a solid senior offensive line that should keep their new quarterback upright long enough to make big plays. Kennedale will have some decorated players coming back for 2021. District Defensive MVP Braden Waters is joined by defensive lineman Chris Washington and Moises Ibanez to make the Wildcats hard to score on. Melissa made a nice run last year before getting tripped up by District foe Paris in the third round. With quarterback Sam Finnegan returning, the Cardinals could be ready for another big year. In 4A Division II, it's been difficult to get past the East Texas teams, but don't be surprised if Aubrey surprises some people. Junior wide receiver Braylon Colgrove won the District Newcomer of the Year, and the Chaps are looking strong in the preseason. Salina's always tough, but have a lot to replace. In 3A, the names to remember are Brock in Division I and Gunter in Division II. Brock's Chad Worrell is now the head coach of El Campo in the Houston area, but that doesn't mean the train is off the tracks. He established quite a pipeline at Brock, and the Eagles should be close to the top again in 2021. As for Gunter, District MVP Hudson Graham is back, and the Tigers look to be ready for another playoff push. Grandview will have a lot to replace, including Dane Yinch, who seemingly was there forever, but expect the Zebras to be a factor as well. As for the private ranks, the three teams to watch out for in TAPS are Parish Episcopal, Nolan Catholic, and John Paul II. Episcopal will be looking for another signal caller now that Preston Stone is gone, but not before helping them win back-to-back TAP state titles. Nolan Catholic returns strength on the defensive side with Curly Thomas and Vincent Page, while John Paul II returns possibly the best cornerback in DFW in Terrence Brooks. Some really great teams that you'll be seeing in private school and the small school rankings. And those teams are made of phenomenal players who help lead these teams to victory. We're going to introduce you to some of those players in our next segment, Players on the Rise. The most notable name on our Players on the Rise list is Liberty Christian safety Christian Driver. He's the son of three-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Donald Driver, who spent 14 years with the Green Bay Packers. Driver is ranked as the number 14 safety in his class and the 25th best recruit in the state. He received over 45 offers, but recently narrowed it down to 12, which includes many SEC schools. Daniel Demery will cause major issues on the gridiron this year with Parish Episcopal. Listed as an athlete, the upcoming junior plays wide receiver and safety for the Panthers, and he does them both quite well. With SMU quarterback Preston Stone gone, Parish Episcopal will be counting on big plays out of Demery this season. Last year, Demery came up with 62 tackles on the season, so look for him to make a name for himself on both sides of the field. Four-star cornerback Terrence Brooks will be back again for John Paul II. The soon-to-be senior led the Cardinals' defense as a sophomore with 47 tackles and 3 picks. Brooks gets the ball fast and is a solid tackler, which makes him a hot commodity for Division I colleges. Finally, in 3A Pilot Point's Ish Harris is a player to watch. The athlete was named the 4-3A Division I Player of the Year last year as a junior. Harris is a running back on offense, but plays multiple defensive positions for the Bearcats. He's projected as a linebacker or a safety at the next level, but will electrify the Pilot Point offense as a senior. Last year, he ran for almost 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns, while snagging 5 interceptions on defense. We seriously have some of the best players, not only in the state, but in the country right here in DFW. And those players on the rise are rising because they have some really great coaching behind them. We bring in our Inside High School Sports producer, Ward Fasold, who will be talking to a coach about his team and some of the competition they'll be seeing in the 2021 season in our Media Day segment.
All right, thank you very much. I'm joined with Danny David, head coach at Pilot Point. Appreciate you joining us today. Hey, I want to talk, before we start getting into this year, I want to talk a little bit about last year. You guys had that pandemic. Everybody had to deal with it, postponements, rescheduling games, everything like that. But maybe the one bright spot, I don't even want to know if I want to call it a bright spot, is that first month, all eyes were on 4A and below. People couldn't drive out to Allen or Duncanville to see games, so they're coming. I mean, you have your core fan base that was with you anyway, but you probably had a lot more eyes on you than before. Did you feel like you got a little bit more exposure, and how did that feel for you?
Yes, sir. A lot of the newspapers, the Dallas Morning News, and other people like that were reaching out to us, doing stories on our kids and our games because, like you said, the higher classifications wasn't playing yet. I thought it was great. Not that we was in the pandemic and the other schools wasn't getting to play. It's just that these kids got some more publicity, some more exposure. Sometimes they may not get it. We totally understand, that there's more papers, more things being sold in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the bigger schools and things. But, it seemed like our games, we had great crowds at most of our games and, things like that. Especially early, I think it was because maybe we was the only show in town. And, I thought it was great.
Let's talk a little bit about the landscape of 3A coming up. It's changed a little bit, 3A Division I. Brock has usually been dominant, but their coach has gone down to Houston. It's a Houston area. Grandview's kind of graduated some of their big guys that have been dominating the last couple of years and getting into state title games. How do you see that helps you guys fit in the 3A Division I landscape here in DFW?
I know that Brock's losing a great coach and a great guy in Coach Worrell. But, they're used to winning. And when your kids are used to winning, you may bring somebody else in there and they may change the system yet, but they're used to winning. And those guys are still going to work hard. They're still going to be contenders, until somebody knocks them off. They're always at the top year in, year out. Grandview's the same way. When you get that program established, you don't rebuild, you reload. And I kind of feel like that's what these guys will be doing, as well. I was hoping that we're getting our program to that point where we're going to reload. We're going to be contenders every year and not just pretenders.
Well, you certainly are not going to be a pretender this year, especially with Ish Harris running with y'all. Talk about his game, how he might, how he changes the game for you offensively and defensively.
Well, Ish is a tremendous athlete. He's got unbelievable God-given ability and talent. If he continues to work hard, I see his future being very bright. Our team's probably gonna be a little different this year. Losing our quarterback Max Holler, which was a dual threat. He could throw well enough to keep you honest, but he could really run, and you really couldn't focus on Ish. This year we're gonna have to be a little different. We're gonna have a different type of quarterback. I think we're still gonna be able to throw the ball, but Ish is gonna be the guy we're really gonna rely on, especially early. We lost a few offensive linemen. We're going to have to let those guys develop as well. So I see Ish being a big part of what we're going to try to do. And, hopefully, and I think he can do it. Defensively, he's our cover corner. He does whatever we ask him to. The year before, he played a little defensive end for us. Last year, we needed him as a cover corner, so he was our cover corner guy. He's a big 6'4", 195-pound guy where we're as much man-to-man as we play. We're going to put him on the best receiver. And, that's a lot of pressure on Ish, but I think he can handle it. I think he accepts it. And, if he's going to excel at the next level, he's got to be able to excel at this level doing the kind of things we're asking him to do.
What's it like having a versatile guy like that? I think you just named all 5-6 positions he can play.
Yeah, it's great to have a guy like that. I hate having to use a guy like that because that means we ain't got much depth because we're having to put this guy at so many different spots. But, that's part of the problems, the challenges you have at a smaller classification in schools. But it's also a unique opportunity for him to play both sides of the football that I think that helps his exposure even better. A lot of people know him as a running back, but I think his future may be on the defensive side of the football in college.
That's true. I mean, heck, you talk about college and pros, they kind of feel like a running back can be plugged in from anywhere, but if he's got defensive abilities, that's probably the route he might want to go if he wants to go to the second and third level. But speaking one last thing about Ish, is it helping your other guys getting recruited, getting looks? Do you tell them, hey, they're coming in to see Ish, but if you show out here in practice or in this game, you might get some looks that you might not have thought or expected?
Yeah, I think it's helped. Being fortunate enough to go, play 14 games the last 2 years, we put, I want to say, 4 guys last year in colleges. They all went D1, but that's where it starts. And those guys getting publicity helped Ish get where he's at today. The same thing, we put, I think there was 4 or 5 that signed this year to go play college football. And, things like that. So I think it helps. I think these guys see, I think they get excited. It'd be different if the dead period wasn't so long right now in the NCAA, and you could actually see those guys, those recruiters out here. But they hear all the tweeting and the different stuff that's going on between coaches and Ish right now, and it gets Ish excited. I think it gets his teammates excited because, like we tell them, like you just said, hey, they're out here seeing Ish, but they see you on TV, on tape, you show out, they're going to be calling about you as well. And so I think it helps.
Excellent. I guess finally, talk about, I know it's very early, but talk about where you think you guys could fall in District 4, 3A, potential-wise. Where do you think you could run at that district title?
Well, that's our goal every year is not just a district title, it's to make the playoffs and play for that state title. But, I feel like, Brock's still going to be the front runner. I think Paradise is an up-and-coming program. I think they're going to be extremely, extremely tough. Peaster, being the second year with the new coach there, I think they're going to be good. Boyd, they've got a history of playing really good football. So I don't know. I think our district's going to be even stronger this year. I think it's going to be tougher. It'd be great to win a district championship, but that's not our goal. Our goal is, to get in the playoffs and then make that run, for that state championship.
Perfect. Well, hey, good luck to you, and thank you for spending some time with us today.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate you reaching out to us.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to see Pilot Point compete this year. I think it's going to be a really good season for you guys. We have so much great talent around here. I know I say it all the time, but we do. And in this next segment, we bring in my friend, the Professor Diggs. And we're Fasold once again to go through the district breakdown. And this is Dixie's favorite thing, as he's going to be talking some small schools and some private schools. So let's get started.
I'm joined by the good Professor Matt Diggs from theoldcoach.com. Matt, I appreciate you joining with us. We are talking lower classifications this week, and Argyle, they don't rebuild, they reload, so we don't really need to mess with them. But I would like to hear about some teams that you think that we should kind of keep an eye on in the 4A and below.
Yeah, absolutely. 4A, we can talk about Argyle all day, but that district, 7-4A, is a serious district. Melissa has a lot of really good players coming back. Sam Finnegan, their quarterback, really good player. And Paris, Paris a little bit outside the area, but they are in that district. The quarterback's son, Hohenberger, not really a son, but kind of like a son to him. He's going to be coming back next year. So that district, Argyle may not even win District 7-4A next year. I mean, that's how good that district is. But a team in 4A Division II that I want you to keep an eye on, and I might even send you to the game at some point, as if I have that sort of power, is Aubrey. I think Aubrey has the chance to be really, really good in 4A Division II. They had 3 sophomores that had all-district qualifications last year, and Jet Runyon, Brayton Colgrove, and Jacob Palladino, and I think Aubrey is going to be you really need to keep an eye on for 2021.
I saw that Colgrove kid. They threw a C on his jersey, and he wasn't even I think he was a sophomore last year.
Yeah.
Might be a junior coming into this year. He already got the C. So I know he's somebody we need to look at for sure. Is there any specific players that you might you've pinpointed other than the ones you've mentioned that somebody we can look out for as well?
Yeah, I think if you want to go down just a little bit to 3A, Ish Harris, Pilot Point running back, he's going to be really good next year. Nathan Jones from Brock, big kid, tight end, has lots of platitudes. I think he's going to be fantastic. Also for Sunnyvale, Max Makeda, I think he's going to be a good one that we're going to keep an eye on as well.
Now you brought up Brockman before we let it go. Tell me what you think. Has Coach Worrell left the program in good hands? Do you think it's to the point where he built it up and now is a good time for him to leave to El Campo and the ship will just keep on floating down the river?
Yeah, Coach Mathis has a great pedigree. Weatherford, other than that a couple of years where they had some good talent, that he's done a lot of good things without that talent base. I think Brock will have that talent base, and I think that they are in good hands. But again, we won't know till we know, and he's going to have big shoes to fill. It's Coach Worrell, one of the best coaches in the state.
And he's run into a nice program down there in the Houston area too, with some nice running backs. But that's good to hear about Brock. And how about one last question? How about Grandview? They are finally the guys that I feel like have been there for God knows how long, because they've been playing since they were freshmen. They're finally gone.
Right.
Have they established themselves as a program where it's just a retool type deal?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to be down a little bit this year. I think a couple of teams are going to be down a little bit. I think Kennedale might be a little bit down. Springtown might be a little bit down. I think Caddo Mills and the smaller schools might be down. Grandview, just by, they do reload, but I think they're not going to be necessarily a state championship contender, but I think they will definitely be going 4 rounds deep.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. I appreciate you coming on with us. Hey, the next couple of weeks, we're starting to dive into 5A. We're going to go district by district. We're going to figure out we're going to pick your mind, figure out who you think's going to go deep, who you think's not going to go deep. I know you never hold back punches.
I'm glad you let Small School Digsy come on for a couple minutes.
There you go. You got 3 minutes of Small School Digsy. Now put them away. And next week, we'll be talking 5A stuff. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, next week.
Well, guys, I love Small School Digsy. I miss you on the 5th quarter, Diggs. This is my only time I'm going to give you this many compliments, but such great insight. I'm so glad you're back on with us. I miss you. You're one of my best friends, And Ward, such a great job, like always. But that's all we have for this week's episode of the Campfire, covering private schools and the small schools. We have some really great content that'll be coming at you throughout the rest of the week, as well as the entire summer. 20 weeks of football-only coverage as we break down each and every district that you'll be seeing from the DFW Metroplex. Next week kicks off our 5A Division II coverage, and we'll have some really great teams that you'll be seeing in that one. But you can follow all of our social media accounts. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube to stay up to date with everything going on in the high school sports scene. Until next time, I'm Ashley Bullington, and thank you so much for watching The Campfire.